Good morning, everybody. Welcome. So glad to see so many of you joining in. With that, we'll get started in just a few moments. We're going to make sure everybody who is joining in, as you in the audience, will have enough time to settle in, get ready to go, and then we'll get started in a couple of minutes. Glad to have you all here.
Yes. Go ahead and drop us a hi, hello in the chat. Let us know where you're tuning in from while you're waiting. Love it. Love seeing all the locations. Hey, Karen, from all over the state, east side, west side, south, north. Good morning, good morning. We'll get started in just a few minutes around 9:05 to let everyone log on and get settled in. Good morning, everybody. Glad to have so many with us today. Good morning, good morning. And we'll get started in just a few minutes. If you're just joining us, we're all just saying hi, hello in the chat and letting us know where you're coming from today. All over the state. Love to see it.
If you haven't grabbed that cup of coffee yet, we got a couple minutes before we get started. So feel free to get that brewing real quick.
Definitely. Or your giant water bottle, as is obligatory in the Pacific Northwest. We're going to get started in just one more minute here. Go ahead and settle in. Good morning, good morning. More joining. Love to see it. We're just settling in, sharing where we're from. And we're going to go ahead and get started here just so that we can keep on track and not go over time or anything like that. Leave plenty of time for questions. Welcome to College Bound program updates. We're going to talk a lot about legislative changes, just changes overall to the program. We're going to try and break it down so that It's understandable. I know I am not a fan of like legal legislative language, so we're going to try and break it down so that we can understand what this actually means for those of us that work with students and work at schools, things like that. We're also going to focus a lot of time on the scenarios. When we were talking about a lot of these changes, Raul and I really talked about when would this apply? What kind of situation are we talking about here? And so we really have a pretty huge focus of today is going to be talking about some scenario deep dives and getting input from you all, sharing your thoughts, things like that. And then we'll also look at just how you can get involved and the legislative season coming up. You hear an echo.
With your audio, Melissa, I don't hear an echo, so I
Okay.
might want to double check your audio just to confirm. But Melissa, you're
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Raul. Okay, let's go over who we are on the next slide, I think. Did I remember correctly? Yes. Awesome. So, who are we? Raul and I are both from College Success Foundation. So, my name is Melissa Kaiulani Pico. I am the College Bound Regional Officer for all of King County. So, that's the area of the state that I focus on. And Raul, you want to introduce yourself?
My name is Raul Sanchez. I cover the areas of Northeast and North Central Washington. And really glad to be here to be one of your co-presenters.
Yeah. Yes. Um, and I think we also have our next slide. Housekeeping. I don't know if anyone else listens to an MFM podcast, but they go housekeeping. So that's the only way I know how to say it. So we are recording this session, and we'll be able to send you the slide deck and stuff like that within the week. But also we have a Q&A feature, and this will help if you can put your questions into the Q&A. This will help us kind of keep track and make sure we don't lose anybody or anyone's questions. And we also have an awesome behind the scenes team of Q&A people here that are the best in the biz, which we'll also introduce a little bit later on. And then remember to keep yourself on mute as well. So, the other thing that we have available, which we're really excited about, is clock hours. We know educators, your time is precious, and y'all are trying to keep that certification going, which we love. So we want to support that. If you are needing the clock hours form, we're going to be sending that out with the slide deck. In the post webinar email that should come within the week. And so that would be something that you fill out and keep for your records, and you submit it along with when you renew your certification, as most of you know. We also have a gift card raffle. Here at College Success Foundation, we're all about the gift card raffle, if you don't know that by now. If you work with us, you probably know that. But we like to give you some incentive for your time. We love incentives. Everyone should be having some sort of incentive to be here. So when you either attend this training or watch this training afterwards, to everyone that registered, we send out that post-webinar email. And then there'll be a short post-training survey, and you need to complete that by March 27th, 5 p.m. And at the last question of that survey will be to enter your email for the raffle. We have $10 gift cards to Tango. If you don't know Tango, it's really cool because you can choose where you want the gift card to go to. It sends it electronically to you. Once you actually fill out the gift card and get it for which business you want, it never expires per Washington state law, right? So that's always good. Okay, let's get started. Let's get into the business here. So, first I want to talk about the changes. So we're gonna talk about how some of the more subtle ways that College Bound has changed, and you may not have noticed, or you may have noticed and been like, what's going on? So let's talk about it. The first one is the name, actually. It used to be, we used to call it College Bound Scholarship. And you may have noticed, maybe not, that now we just go with college bound for a few reasons. We really wanted to move away, and really this came directly from WSAC, and I think it's a great move and a really smart way to kind of more about how we market it and how we talk about it to students. We wanted to move away from that scholarship language. It's more of like a grant, right? A commitment from the state. So we're really talking about it college bound commitment or college bound. So you may see it as CB, but we don't say CBS anymore. Rarely will you see college bound scholarship anymore. I will say this is started in January of last year, so we're still updating materials. So if you do see that, we're still updating stuff and we're trying to catch those things that have scholarship in there, but you'll see that move away. If you have your own materials that you've utilized, make sure to update it on your end as well, so that we're talking about college bound. The other reason is that in Washington, D.C., there is a college bound scholarship. And so I think that can get confusing as well. So this move to college bound and a nice new logo, as you can see. So we have a new logo, a new name that just kind of got rid of some misinformation, right? And a little bit more clear, college bound Washington. Okay. The other thing that we want to talk about is Otterbot. And some of you may know Otterbot, some of you may not. Really amazing text service that is also from WSAC, from Washington State. So you know you can trust it. You know it's not a scam, right? And it provides 24/7 like answers, question. You can ask a question, it provides an answer. If it doesn't have an answer built in, it emails it to the team and they get back to you about an answer. So it's a really amazing text service. Nowadays, our students, even some of us, we're all about the text. I've helped students fill out the entire financial aid application just by talking with them over text. It can happen. So, this OtterBot is a perfect avenue for our students and our families a lot of the time. And the really cool thing about OtterBot right now is that they've really been focusing on a regionalization. So they have a new funding to help it really be more local. And you may see messages from College Bound coming out. So I may send out messages just to my region to say, hey, I have an event, these events coming up, tell your students about them, stop by if you can. And same thing with around the state, your CBOs, CBROs might have different messages coming out. But beyond College Success Foundation, other CBOs, other community-based organizations may also send messages through Otterbot that are relevant to financial aid or college planning, things like that. So really encourage your families to sign up. College-bound students get automatically enrolled. So if you have your college-bound students who are my middle school staff that get signed up, and in high school, they are already in Otterbot, we do ask them to like save the number so that they don't think it's spam when they get messages like only a few times a year and they're like, who's texting me? So I always say save the number in your contacts so you know it's Otterbot. Okay. Okay, with that, I'm going to pass it off to Raul to talk about some of the legislative updates.
Yes, so with that, I'm here to talk about legislative updates, some changes that have been made through the legislature over the last year, and kind of give you some updated information regarding that. So first, the GPA change. As of fall of 2023, if you haven't been aware, the 2.0 GPA requirement has only been limited now to what's it called, four-year colleges and universities. What that means is that there's no GPA requirement for students to go to a two-year college and vocational in order to use the college-bound funding. They just need to graduate from high school, make sure that they are getting that high school diploma. However, colleges may have their own GPA requirement that students need to meet to be accepted into the program. So that's something the students are going to need to keep in mind and be mindful of. There's still that 2.0 GPA requirement for direct entry into four-year colleges. Students also that don't have a 2.0 or higher when they're graduating from high school can start off at community college, then transfer into a four-year afterwards, so long as they're meeting satisfactory academic progress. Also with that, students have access to more aid, the time frame. They can, instead of being 4 years of college bound within 5 years, They have 6 years of financial aid funds available to them, so long as they're income eligible every year, which means 18 quarters worth of funding or 12 semesters attempted. Full or part-time attendance counts as 1 quarter or semester. So that's something students need to keep in mind. And then there's Pell, Washington College Grant, all and the College Bound program. All three are eligible for 6 years of aid or their first bachelor's degree, whichever happens first. And there is no longer a time limit. Like I mentioned before, it used to be 4 years worth of College Bound within 5 years. Now there is no time limit. There's no expiration date. The student can use up to a bachelor's degree or 6 years worth of College Bound eligibility. Students still need to meet the income, residency, and enrollment requirements to qualify for the College Bound funds. They also need to attend an eligible institution, must be in satisfactory academic standing, typically a 2.0, passing the majority of their classes, and they cannot owe money to colleges. So a student can go to college for 1 quarter, meet that enrollment requirement for College Bound, stop going to school for a while, come back, and that'll still be available to them so long as they meet the income requirements. Then college credit during high school. This has been another change that helps with the College Bound eligibility. Students that earn college credits in the high school that are automatically transcribed by a college fulfill their enrollment for College Bound. So this is, for example, that requirement that a student needs to earn a college credit within 1 year after high school graduation. Doing things like CTE dual credit, college in the high school, those credits will count towards the graduation towards the 1 year requirement. However, they do need to be transcribed, and some of those credits aren't always automatically transcribed, which means a credit being provided by the colleges themselves. So they should always check and make sure that those credits are being given credits from the colleges themselves. Then advanced placement courses, they do not count toward the enrollment requirement for College Bound, as these credits are provided to students from the colleges themselves after they've enrolled and been admitted to those schools. And it is based on the AP test scores rather than the high school being the one that provides the credit or them earning it during school. With that too, we have the middle schools with the data sharing with OSPI. It is very important that middle school staff members are always continuing to update whenever possible the contact information for College Bound eligible students. It's also very important for students and families to complete the Child Nutrition Eligibility and Education Benefits, the CNEB. With that, it combines the free and reduced price lunch and family income survey from previous years. So students still need to be determined if they're eligible based on income to be enrolled in the College Bound commitment when they're in 7th or 8th grade. So it is crucial to have students complete the CNEB for your district, making sure every year they get that completed, they get that submitted. For schools that do provide free lunch to all, it is still important for them to complete this application to qualify for College Bound and other programs by completing the application. And also, if you can, every single month, if possible, or whenever during the academic year, update contact information in the portal for students so they can get notification about being College Bound eligible, so they can keep being updated while they're in high school, making sure they're aware of their College Bound commitment. With that, then there's also the high school data sharing with OSPI. Students are still being enrolled into the College Bound commitment up until the end of 9th grade based on their income eligibility. So it's crucial to have 9th grade students complete the CNEB for your district, making sure they complete the applications, encouraging families to submit so, especially if your school is all free lunch. Definitely want to make sure we can get them enrolled in College Bound if they're eligible. Contact information from OSPI is shared once a year to WSAC with SB 6053. This does allow WSAC to receive contact information from Washington high schools directly from OSPI. However, because the data is only provided once a year, we do continue to rely on high school and middle school staff to make sure the information is accurate and up to date by utilizing the tools that you have available to you, like the bulk update tool monthly, to update the student, parent, and guardian information, Checking for bad addresses. We want to make sure information is getting sent to the student, not getting lost in the mail, not getting lost with a new email address as well. And then if you ever need support or anything, we're here to help guide you through that upload. Once again, don't send us information to us directly. Don't send us your list of students to upload to the portal. We will help guide you through that process so you can do that. We can even share screens and help you through that process too. And then use secure message tool to send screenshots, files, social security numbers, or student IDs to the college bound. If you need that information updated when contacting information, don't send that through email. So what hasn't changed with the college bound program? The enrollment requirement. They still need to do with complete, go to college for at least one term, complete one credit within 1 year of high school graduation. That also includes earning at least one college credit during high school, during Running Start, college in the classroom, the CTE credits, as long as they are transcribed. We really want to make sure that your students know that those credits need to be transcribed to meet that within 1 year requirement of high school. It goes for funding up to a bachelor's degree. So if they take 4 years, 5 years, or 6 years to get that bachelor's degree, that is okay. They have funding up until that degree. A high school diploma is required, making sure students are meeting that requirement to graduate from high school with that diploma, getting through their entire high school career. Then the college bound is applied after all other grants. So making sure it works in combination with the Washington grant when its commitment is to cover tuition at public institutions or a similar amount of private institutions. So understanding that a student still needs to be income eligible as well, residency requirements to be completed in order to qualify for the college bound commitment. So that means completing the FAFSA the WASFA every year that they're looking for financial aid. Middle school and high school counselors or districts do need to update contact information in the portal. Once again, get support from your CVROs. We're here to help you, to guide you to upload that. We can schedule a meeting, virtual, whatever works for you. Next, we're going to dive into scenarios. I'm going to pass it over to my co-host, Melissa.
Awesome. Thank you, Raul. Okay, I know that was a lot of information. Breathe. We can do this. We are going to go through some scenarios of how the information that we just talked about is going to apply to students, or like some particular situations that you may come across. I'm also going to ask you your opinion. For each scenario we talk about, we're going to ask you to put in the chat what questions would you have for your students, or what considerations would you need to think about for these scenarios? So I want to get your ideas, your thoughts, just so that we can kind of talk about them, crowdsource, and then we'll go through information that we want to help provide to you as well. Okay. So get ready to have those fingers at the ready to type in the chat. So our first scenario, one of my favorites, free lunch schools. So for our schools, if you're a school that provides free lunch to all students, we have a lot more now, which is great. We want to move that direction. A school provides free lunch to all their students. Would all of their students be auto-enrolled into College Bound? I see, nope, they need to fill out the CNAB. Love it. No, 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 no. Yes. Love this. Love it. Thank you. Yes, exactly. They need to qualify through that CNEP. I will say this is something that, as we've seen more schools transitioning to all free lunch, which is, like I said, we want to go that direction. That's great. That's way better for our families. We have also seen a little bit of an increase in the students that get missed with College Bound, because their families think, I no longer need to fill anything out since I'm already getting lunch. Okay. And then they get to ninth grade or 10th grade and they realize they're not in College Bound and they should have been. So I really want my middle school staff, they need to complete that CNEB. And I know, it's a registrar thing, it's a district thing. If you have families that need to fill this out, check in with them, make sure they have filled it out, make sure that your students have all filled out the form, knowing that it's not about free lunch anymore. It's no longer called, the FERPL application or free lunch application. It's called the CNEB or CNEEB, and it's beyond just lunch. Okay. Yes. Oh, sorry. You can chat to everybody. Some of you have been sending responses to hosts and panelists, I love that too. So I have a whole host of things, but you can also change your chat to say to everyone. Your choice. You can also just send it to the hosts and panelists. That's fine too. Just wanted to let you know. Okay, let's go on to the second one. You all did amazing on that one. Let's keep it going. And I'm gonna pass. Raul and I are gonna like tag team back and forth just to have keep it fun.
Hopefully it can be as fun as you, but we'll go ahead and dive into this one. So where is my college bound? I'm sure a lot of students are always asking that when reviewing their financial aid offer letters, when trying to find out, okay, I applied to these schools, but they're not showing the financial aid offer for college bound. A student is listed in college bound portal, but the college bound is not listed on their financial aid offer letter. What may be going on within this? So what are potential reasons the student's offer letter doesn't include the college bound funds? And for now, looking, they no longer qualify. That could be a potential reason. They currently don't meet the income requirements. Their need was completely met by other sources. Bad information, maybe misspelled, bad social security number in their system. Maybe they submitted their admissions application incorrectly with information for themselves. Incorrect address, also no longer qualify. Maxed out on tuition through other grants. Yes, their need could have been fully covered or their income has changed. Love seeing all these answers. You guys all have great information that you're sharing here. Not a college bound eligible school. What if they could be applying for a school outside of the qualifications for college bound? The student's cost of attendance may have already been fully covered by other scholarships, like some of you have mentioned, and grants, and the student may no longer be income eligible for that academic year. That is also correct. They will still be enrolled in college bound. That's something to keep in mind and qualify for college bound funds in the future as long as they're income eligible in satisfactory academic standing. They don't owe any money to the college or it hasn't been more than 6 years of eligibility. So that's something to keep in mind as well of when a student asks, where's my college bound? Making sure you kind of go through those checks of what am I going to qualify for? Did I qualify? Why isn't it listed on there? So those are great things. I'm glad many of you were able to answer that correctly. We're going to pass it off to Melissa for this next one.
Yes, I also want to clarify. Can we go back to the last one for just a moment, Trang?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I also want to clarify because I just see some of the responses in here. Even if they applied for FAFSA late, like that wouldn't be a reason why they wouldn't see it on their financial aid application. The address also wouldn't be an issue because even if when we don't have their address, they're still enrolled. If they filled out the application, they're still enrolled. Once they're enrolled in college bound, even if we don't have their address, that doesn't go away. But you all are really on point with the income has changed. They may not be going to a college bound eligible school. There are actually a lot of private colleges that are college bound eligible in Washington State, but there's not, you can see the list of eligible institutions. If it's an institution that's not eligible, then yeah, they wouldn't see that college bound on their financial aid application. So I want to just kind of clarify from our answers in the chat, looking at what could be true and what wouldn't be an issue. Yeah. Okay, we can move forward to the next one. And again,
Yes.
if you
Thank you
have
for catching
questions or
that.
follow-ups on that, yeah, no worries. And this is the first time we've done scenarios, so we're just kind of feeling this out. And I love this because we're kind of hearing all of your thoughts to help work through like what would be and what wouldn't be. And again, if you have questions about these scenarios or you have a question of like, wouldn't this be a reason why? Definitely let us know in the Q&A and ask that follow-up question so that we can help clarify it, okay? Okay, college credits in high school. So we spent a lot of time in the slides and like the legislative changes on this as well, because this is a trickier one. Okay, so follow along with me. Our scenario, a college-bound student who's a junior or senior year of high school, and they're enrolled in one community college class for Running Start, and they pass the class earning college credit. Does this satisfy the enrollment requirement where they need to earn at least one college credit within the first year of, within 1 year after graduating high school, rather? Does this satisfy the enrollment requirement? Yes, yes, no, no. Ooh, we're gonna get into it. Possibly. I love that. It depends, right? There's like this education thing, right? Where it depends. It depends. I can't give you a yes or a no. Okay, let's talk through with this. We got some yeses, we got some nos, we got some possibly. Let's see. Victor's going with the no. Okay, it does qualify as long as they receive one college credit. I will say it has to be automatically transcribed, right? So we talked about that up in the slides a little bit. Not every not every program in high school automatically transcribes. So if they receive credits through college in the high school or career or CTE credits, they can satisfy the enrollment deadline if that was automatically transcribed. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's just what, college and the high school that does automatically transcribing? Yes, Raul's shaking his head yes.
Yep.
So,
One thing I want to add, usually those credits for college in the classroom, I mean, in the high school, yeah, college in the high school, what that does is provide you credits from either Eastern, Central, Spokane Falls, any of those colleges that are providing that program. Like,
okay. So we have Running Start and college in the high school. Bree, college in the high school though, yes? Okay, no. Okay, so Running Start. There's a lot of technical things here, right? So this is why we like to talk about it. Yes, the CTE are not necessarily automatically transcribed, and usually they're not automatically transcribed. They'd have to enroll in a college to get them transcribed, right? But Running Start is the one that is automatically transcribed. College and the high school, they also have to enroll in college and register for the class in order to get them transcribed as well. So that would be the thing that you want to figure out at your school. Which of our programs that are where high school or high school students, for my high school counselors, which of your programs are that are where high school students are earning college credit, which are automatically transcribed? Most likely it's just the Running Start, but check that out for yourself. Let us know if you have a different situation too, because we're always learning and gathering more information. So if you have other programs besides Running Start where they're automatically transcribed, please share that with us. We'd love to know. But yeah, so it's like a yeah, possibly is totally the right answer. And so they, even if they aren't automatically transcribed, if they once they enroll into a college, then they would be transcribed, right? But if they're saying I want to take several years off and it's not automatically transcribed, then it wouldn't satisfy that enrollment requirement.
yes, Martha, I do want to add that yes, if the class produces a college transcript, then it is counting and transcribing.
Exactly. Yes. Martha, that's a great way to say it too. Thank you. If it produces a college transcript, it counts. Okay, let's go to the next scenario, Raul.
All right. So in this case, the student is attending their local community college for the fall term right after they graduated from high school. They didn't do anything with Running Start, college in the high school, any sort of that stuff, but they passed their classes during that fall term right after high school graduation. Then they decided to take some time off because they may not have qualified for financial aid funds. Maybe their family income was too high when they completed the FAFSA form. Their student aid index was too high to qualify for any need-based aid. And parents are unable or won't contribute to the student's financial expenses for college. Did they meet the enrollment requirement and would they be able to receive college bound funds in the future should they decide or when they decide to return back to college? And we're seeing a lot of yeses. We're seeing an LOL. I like that one. They would get college bound in the future if they met income eligibility. The yes, and then there's the can. Some are saying tricky, not sure. If they earned a 1 point credit, Yeah. So with that, the answer, I like all these questions. I mean, the answers that you all have. As long as they earned at least one college credit, they have met the enrollment requirement. So making sure they pass the class. They would still be eligible for college bound funding when they return to college, as long as they're income eligible, in satisfactory academic standing, and they don't owe any money to the college. So as long as they leave in good standing, then decide to come back later on, that is a possibility for them to be able to use their college bound funds. They do need to be income eligible later on as well. Um, and so, with that, middle school staff, if you haven't heard about the change, went from EFC, expected family contribution, to student aid index. So I definitely want to highlight that's the measurement that colleges are using to determine financial need.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. In and out of state. And we've actually had this scenario come up several times. So this is one that definitely happens. A college-bound student graduates from Washington High School with their high school diploma, enrolls in college out of state, but then ends up transferring back to Washington State at a later time. Would they still be able to receive college-bound when they come back to Washington State? Don't think so. Let's see. Yes. Shrug. That's my favorite, Karen. Mm. Depends on the timeline. Maybe. Yes. Yes, within 1 year. I hope so. No, because they didn't enroll in a Washington school within a year of graduating. If it's within a specific amount of time, yes. Within a year of graduating, they're still income eligible. Okay, let's talk about this one. This is a great one. I
I'm
even
so
had to
glad
learn
we
this
have
one when
the
I first
answer.
started. Yes.
I'm
Okay,
so glad that we
so
can check.
I know, yeah. They would still be eligible. So the enrollment requirement, I know this gets super technical and tricky, which is why we don't often say this when we're presenting because it would just confuse most people. The enrollment requirement is that they have to enroll in college, not necessarily an eligible college, like a college bound eligible. If it's not a college bound eligible college, like in another state, they wouldn't be able to use the college bound funds for that college, but it would still meet the enrollment requirement of enrolling within 1 year. So then when they come back to Washington State and they are still income eligible and they don't owe money to college and in satisfactory standing, all that, then, if they enroll in Washington State to an eligible college, they would have kept their college bound standing because they did enroll in college within 1 year. Yes. So, yes. Yes. So, if the enrollment requirement is just to enroll in college within 1 year, they wouldn't be able to use the college bound funding if it's not an eligible institution, but they'd still meet the enrollment requirement and keep their college bound status. I know that's a kind of a tricky one. If you have follow-up questions, definitely put it in the Q&A. And again, the enrollment requirement was that they have to get at least one credit in college credit, right? So if they do that within a year of graduating high school, they've met the enrollment requirement. So they could go just even one term out of state and then take time off, transfer back to Washington, whatever the situation is, right? But that enrollment requirement is that within 1 year of graduating high school, they need to earn at least one college credit. They need to be in good standing, all that kind of stuff. And they can still use college bound if they end up coming back to Washington State and coming to an eligible institution. So that's the two different kind of things to consider, right? Is the college bound requirements, the student requirements, and then getting to use the college bound funding. And I know that's where it gets really tricky and technical.
And I
Yeah, so
know with
definitely
some,
ask any follow-up questions. Sorry, go ahead, Raul.
oh no, you're good. With that, I know some of you have mentioned, so you can enroll as an adult in college, or we know that they only have 6 years for possible eligibility. With that, those 6 years are only counting when they're in school. So if they go for a term, they stop going to school 10 years, for example, then they come back and they're income eligible for college bound, they will have the college bound eligibility. So it's 6 years
Yeah.
worth of classes or a bachelor's degree, whichever happens first.
Yeah. So even if because there may be a year where they don't qualify for college bound funding, but they're in college, that wouldn't count against their 6 years. So it's 6 years of actual funding or their first bachelor's degree, whatever comes first, even if that means they were in college for other years where they didn't qualify for the college bound funding because of the income requirement. Okay, let's keep going.
Gaps and degrees. So let's say a college-bound student earns an associate's degree using college-bound funding for 2 years, then works or is not in college for an extended period, let's say for 7 years. Then they decide to earn their bachelor's degree at a Washington college. Would this student be able to receive college-bound funds when they return to college? With the answers for this one, I do have a little bit higher expectation of your answers, so we'll see what's going to happen. And we'll use the adult phrasing. I won't be mad. I'll just be a little disappointed.
Oh, the ultimate, the ultimate letdown there.
So we've got yes if they're still financially eligible, yes if they're income eligible, yes, yes, only through their bachelor's. Some don't know. That's okay if you don't know. And then yes, if it's within a 6 year period and financial eligibility. Yes. So loving the answers. I'm not disappointed in the answers. So I'm glad to be relieved on that one. I was putting a little bit of pressure, but the student would still have up to 4 years of funding left to use towards their bachelor's as long as they are income eligible, Washington resident, attend an eligible institution in satisfactory academic standing, and they don't owe any money to the college. And like with this example, we know sometimes it could take a little bit longer than 2 years to earn an associate's degree. But in this case of the example, the student just took the exact 2 years. If they took 3 years of classes to get their associates, that means they would have 3 years left for their bachelor's degree. So remember, it's always at 6 years, but in this case, the student got their AA in 2. So they have a little bit of extra wiggle room and funding to be able to complete their bachelor's degree if they needed it. These,
Awesome.
these interactions have been great so far. If they owe
Yeah.
money to a college, they are no longer eligible for college bound. So they'll still be eligible for college bound. They just can't access their college bound funds if they owe money to the school. You need to be in good standing financially as well. So make sure your balance is paid off before college bound funds can be distributed to pay for your following term.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. GPA and transfers. This is also gets a little technical as well, okay? Okay, so the student graduated high school with a 1.3 GPA and they enroll in community college for 2 years. So remember, community college, when they enroll in a 2 year program, they don't have to have a GPA for college bound funding, right? So they enroll in community college for 2 years. They obtain an AA degree with a higher GPA, and then they transfer to a 4 year university to obtain their bachelor's degree. Would the student be able to receive college bound funds when they transfer to a 4 year college? I see yes, yes, depends on what their GPA is when they transfer. That's a really big part of this question. Thank you. If they meet the GPA and income requirements, yes, yes, yes. If they have a 2.0, okay, so this is what I want to talk about. This is where it gets super technical, right? Again, it's kind of like the last question I did where there's two pieces of college bound. There's the student requirements, but then there's also the college bound funds. And so let's talk about the answer on this one. They would still qualify for college bound, and it actually wouldn't matter what their for college bound, it wouldn't matter what their GPA was when they transfer. So that those student requirements of graduating high school, that was just once they graduate high school, they need to graduate high school with a certain GPA, right? But once they've done that, they met the enrollment requirement, they've done that piece, then the GPA piece doesn't isn't considered anymore because they fulfilled that. They graduated with their high school diploma and that was the piece, right? So even though they didn't get a 2.0 there because they did a 2 year college, they didn't have to do a GPA for college bound. So they met the requirement of graduating with a high school diploma. And then they enrolled to get their AA. They got college credits within a year. So they met that requirement, the enrollment requirement, right? So then the GPA doesn't matter to college bound once they go back or transfer to a 4 year university. I'm sure it matters to the university in order to get into the university, but it doesn't matter to college bound because that was just for when they graduated high school. So they would still qualify as long as, and this is like I don't am some sort of saying about we're on like a little loop here. Like as long as they're income eligible, Washington resident, they attend the eligible institution, they're in satisfactory academic standing, and they don't owe money to a college, right? So we're kind of on an endless loop here of those qualifications. So the GPA would not matter in this situation for college bound in order to receive college bound funds. So that's kind of like why it's one of the reasons why we did this scenario, right? Because even we were like, would it matter? Would it not matter? And we had our experts at WSAC to help us with that. So this is a great scenario to talk about, if you can get that student to get into college, to kind of do their thing where they would excel, then they can transfer and do the thing that they want to do. So the GPA, once they're transferring to a 4-year, wouldn't be an issue for college bound.
So should students still care about their GPA as they're in community college and wanting to transfer?
Probably. Probably, right? Like that's the university probably cares. Yes. So, and that's what we say too, like when we talk about how they can, that they don't need to have the 2.0 GPA if they want to go to community college. Obviously, even community colleges have GPA requirements, right? So, they always want to look at that college and think about what I want to aim towards. But in terms of being a barrier for funding, College Bound wanted to make sure that there's not a barrier there for students as much as we can, right? Yeah. Okay. So we want to do a little share out. You all did amazing. This was the first time we were like, let's see if we can get feedback and if we have like explained it well enough. So you all did amazing. Thank you so much for engaging with us. Our last little piece of engagement here, I want you all to think about and share in the chat. Think about what we've talked about today and if there's anything that you would implement or share with your students or change, what you're doing, something that from today's webinar that you would implement into your work and share out in the chat. Could be tiny, it could be big, it could be changing the name on your flyers and handouts that you give to students, right? Changing the logo, it could be something from our scenarios. Talk to me about what you would change. Yes, I'll share with my office colleagues at Higher Ed. That's an awesome share out. Thank you. Yes. Changing the name. Yes, on your website. Perfect. Yes, College Bound 101 with parents during parent-teacher conferences. I love that. I love that. Changing the name, that's perfect. Mentioning the CNEM more. Love that one. That's amazing. Thank you, Sarah. That's definitely something we want you all to do. Share the info with your team. That's a great thing to do. I think a lot of educators would find this stuff so interesting. Encourage OtterBot. That's perfect. We love that. Yes. Hand out the CNAP forms. You're like, let me get this in your hand. Yes. I will say the CNAB is online mostly, but some districts, if you haven't moved it to an online format, still say print this out and then email it to us. So it's definitely your particular district. Check and see what CNEB y'all need to use. Change the name. Yes. Share about the 2.0 only for a 4-year. Yes, definitely. Mid-year audit of college bound addresses. Love that. Love to hear it. Get with your counselors and brainstorm how to bring this info to your middle school families. 100%. Feel free to reach out to your CBRO for that too. They can totally help you with that. Share slides that they may have, give ideas. They would love to have those conversations with you too. Calling it college bound commitment. Love that. Free meals district. So many families don't bother with the application. Yes, definitely start checking that to see if, yes, that's a huge one. Thank you, Lindsay. That's a great one to do. Pulling out college bound info into our school newsletter and text alerts to families. Love that. Great idea. If your district or your school has text alerts, it could be that you even text them about filling out that CNEB, right? Like, have you filled this out? It's for college bound, not just lunch. Yes, I love that. Thank you all. You all have been sharing such great ideas, really getting into it and really talking with us. I love it. Resource base. Awesome. Thank you so much. Feel free to keep putting your questions into the Q&A if you have more. And I think Raul's going to come up and, oh wait, I think we actually have some legislative stuff I'm still going to do. Let's see. What's next? Yes. So y'all are amazing with your information and with your knowledge and sharing it with us today. I also want, I think a lot of times when I go to schools and I talk to educators, you all are working directly with your students and you have the best insight of to what's working and what's not working. And so I want to talk a little bit about how you could share your thoughts with WASAC, how you can get involved, right? And so college bound is a law. It has legislative language that we've tried to translate into human language, as I like to call it. But WASAC, so WASAC, our amazing WASAC team, they really have limits of what they can and can't change because they have to follow the legislative, like the RCWs and the laws that are out there for college bound. So, and most of the changes to college bound, they require that WASAC gets involved in like legislative advocacy and things like that, right? And that bills have to be put up from our representatives that where you live. So, how can we get involved? If you pay attention to the bills, if you have a friend that pays attention to the bills, if someone in your district pays attention to the bills, you can share your comments on the legislative bills that affect college bound and let them know, hey, this would really help me out as a counselor. I think this is a really easy change to make. You can also contact your legislators and say, hey, we use college bound and this is something that's been a barrier, or this has been a barrier to our students being able to go to college, period. And then the last thing I want to share is attending a WASAC webinar. Our WASAC friends, they are doing a lot. And one of the things they do is that they have monthly webinars, if not more than monthly even. And so we can go on the next slide and share a little bit about how to attend a webinar. So get involved with WASAC. And they're going to have OSPI and WASAC webinar on legislative updates May 14th from 9 to 10:30. And again, this link will be emailed out to you so that you can sign up for that if you want to as well. And they also host webinars with school counselors and support staff. They cover different things. So if you want to be involved with WASAC more, if you want to be able to contribute more and have things to say about College Bound or about other WASAC programs, check out their website, look at their WASAC webinars, WASAC Wednesdays, and really get involved with them and start talking with them. They're out there all the time doing amazing work, and they are so great at listening to educators and listening to your thoughts and listening to what's going on. And you all have amazing things to say and amazing insight. So we wanted to put a little shout out in here of how you can get involved as well, being such amazing experts on the student experience of who you're working with. Okay, I think now it's Raul coming up with the resources.
Yes, here to share with you some information, resources, guides, support in any way we can help you to spread the word about College Bound, getting students prepared for college, thinking about what they're going to do after high school, all the fun things. With that, with Create Your Future with College Bound, we've got a lot of materials with that to help your students to navigate through that toolkit, some lesson plans, some support to get them thinking about what they're going to do after high school. We also have the College Success Foundation's Financial Aid Hub. Anything from information related to scholarships, financial aid, completing the FAFSA or the WASPA, all that sorts of stuff is listed there for you to be able to access that, share the resources with your students and families as well. Got the college knowledge materials. If you haven't gotten those booklets, those are great resources to provide to students and families to go over with them as well so they can start planning their future of what they want to do. As you can see, all of this definitely focuses on creating the future piece for your students to help them out. WASAC's College Bound website has College Bound students and families frequently asked questions for counselors and staff there as well. So we encourage you to go to the WASAC website as well to access that information, order materials, flyers as well. There's so many great things you can get from there so you can hand out to your students and families. Then the Washington Student Achievement Council focused on the 12th year campaign. WASAC has the financial aid toolkit, completion portal for the FAFSA to be updated on how many of your students have completed the FAFSA, College Bound Toolbox, YouTube tutorial on how to navigate, how to go through and upload addresses, make those changes, and then ordering free promotional materials. So many different opportunities within that, so many different things to order and get to hand out to your students. Then OtterBot's 24/7 financial aid tech support on the webpage. Encourage your students to sign up College-bound students will be automatically enrolled in that. They can decide to opt out if they'd like, but we encourage them to stay informed and up to date with OtterBot as it gives them great information and they can ask general questions related to financial aid in college. So how does CSF and WSAC work together? As you can see, we are different organizations coming together in partnership and support. College Success Foundation being a nonprofit that supports students and families within different schools and across the region with their college-bound regional officers. That's where we come in with the Washington College Access Network, supporting staff across the region in different schools, different community organizations to help with navigating financial aid in the college-bound program. You've got WSAC that supports statewide college access infrastructure, working with OSPI, which works with you all to support K through 12, allocating funding for tools, resources, all that sort of stuff. So basically, our mission is a network of organizations collaborating to increase post-secondary enrollment for all Washington State students. So connecting with us, and that's what we tend to do, is support you in these different aspects of post-secondary education. Partner with your college-bound regional officer. We are here to support, guide you, be in attendance when possible, jump in virtually, whatever works for you all when it comes to college-bound awareness, financial aid completion, student and family events. Do you want us to come in and talk to students in the classroom whenever possible? You're hosting an event for families to come in and learn about college-bound financial aid, trainings for practitioners as well. We provide you information like webinars like today, as well as information related to financial aid, and then support and resources. We're here to guide you, support you through that process. And then we encourage you also to partner with Washington Student Achievement Council. They provide you access to the college-bound and FAFSA completion portals. As staff members of the district, we encourage you to utilize those portals. Great way to see which of your students have been listed as eligible for college-bound, being able to update their addresses, as well as for you high schools, being able to see your seniors who have completed the FAFSA, who may be missing information if the FAFSA was incomplete. It helps you to be able to guide the student and support them and meet them where they are in submitting those financial aid applications. You could also order free materials from CollegeBound, OtterBot 12th year campaign. We encourage you to do that, submit that order soon, and then sign up for WSAC's listserv. Stay connected on current program updates. They provide so much great information in their listserv that we really encourage you to get that in. Make sure you go over that information whenever you can as well, because then it keeps you updated on everything going on with CollegeBound and anything else related through WSAC. Webinars, there's the first Wednesday of every month that WSAC provides webinars. We encourage you to sign up into those. I haven't had the opportunity to join in, but I know some of my colleagues have been able to join in. Sometimes we'll sit in, have conversations with others. It's a really great way to network, in addition to getting support and guidance with anything that WSAC can support you with. And then middle and high school college-bound resources are available in 13 different languages. So if you go to the website, you'll be able to find those different languages and provide that information to students and their families in the language that they're most comfortable with. With that, I'm going to go ahead and are we passing it off for them to introduce themselves, Melissa, if I remember correctly?
I think so. I think let's get our WSAC team. Some of them have been behind the scenes answering your questions. You may have seen some of their names in the Q&A and offering great support at this webinar. So let's see who we got. Who wants to start? Pablo, do you want to start us out?
Thanks, Melissa. Good morning, everyone. My name is Pablo Rodriguez. I'm a program associate with the College Access Initiatives team. I'm located in the Tri-Cities area, specifically Richland, Washington, and y'all can come to me for any support in terms of um, confirming college-bound enrollment, looking up student application, help with navigating in the toolbox, specifically with the bulk update tool, any questions regarding college-bound materials, and then to our partners with our OtterBot regionalization project. So thank you, everyone.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sean Moran, and I am from the Olympia, Washington region. I am the data analyst for College Access Initiatives. I can help if there's questions related to FAFSA data, specifically the FAFSA portal, College Bound portal, questions also about portal account creation, and also if you have any questions about some possible data requests. And thank you very much.
Oh, hi. Hi everyone. I'm just working on the wonderful Q&A questions that you guys are submitting. My name is Kathy Pham, and I'm a program associate with the Washington Student Achievement Council, and I work on mainly communications. So many of you are here. You might have seen my our Gov delivery messages where we constantly just remind you about the great resources and information and partnership we have with CSF. So if you also see any materials that needs to be updated on our webpage, or you were missing materials that could benefit you and your communities, please reach out to me. We are here to best serve you. And I'll pass it over to my colleague. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Hi, I'm Rochelle Wise. I'm the program specialist with College Access Initiatives, more specifically College Bound. So I'm the one who manages the College Bound email inbox and the College Bound phone line. So I'm the first point of contact. I triage all of those messages. You can come to me for questions about College Bound enrollment, looking at the applications, that sort of thing. I also kind of assist the other three in backup. So if one of them is out, you can always reach out to the College Bound inbox or directly to me, and I can try to get you in the right direction with that as well. I also do help, I don't know if there's any on this, I think it's mostly counselors, but I do also assist financial aid advisors on their end as well at times. Thank you.
You can see our amazing WSAC team literally doing double duty and typing in the Q&A and chat while introducing themselves. Awesome to work with. They're a great team. So happy to have their support.
Then also be the Contact College Access Initiatives team as WSAC. It is not just our College Bound department as well that works within WSAC, but our 12th year campaign and College Access Initiatives. There's this whole team here to support you and guide you through every step of the way. So making sure you connect with them, reach out to them. They are a very helpful group of people. We love to work with them. And then also we encourage you to contact your College Bound regional officers. I will start off with myself. As I mentioned, my name is Raul. I am based in Spokane, Washington, but I'm here to support those that are in North Central Washington, that are in Northeastern Washington as well. So all those areas that you see in cyan, blue, and yellow, that is my region, here to support you and guide you. Next is Amber Goodridge. She is your College Bound regional officer that is based over in Yakima. So covering the south central, southeastern part of the state. You will see her area in about dark green and sky blue. So she covers that region. She is not able to introduce herself at this time because she just had to step away and drive towards an event. So she's out there working hard, making sure to support you practitioners in our region. I will go ahead and hand it off to our next partner in crime, essentially.
Hey, hello, everybody. I love being a partner in crime. My name is Kennedy. I'm based in our Tacoma team. I support South Puget Sound and Southwest Washington. I kind of describe that as Tacoma to Vancouver and a little bit out to the coast. But I'm here for anyone in that region. And I split a little part of it with Bree, and I'll pass it off to her.
Thank you, Kennedy. So again, my name is Bree Olison. I support the Northwest and Peninsula regions. So ESD 189, 114, Kennedy and I split 113. And then I also support Bainbridge Island. So I get to travel around, take ferries. Personally, I feel like I have one of the most beautiful areas right on the water. And I am located in Port Angeles, and I will hand it off to Melissa.
Awesome. Thank you. So again, I'm Melissa Kaiulani Pico. I cover King County, small but mighty, as there are so many of us here. And I think my favorite thing has been Raul's description of the colors. What would you call this pale yellow, Raul? I needed like a name for it. It's not like a butter yellow. That's more like Kennedy.
I would call it more of a melon yellow, like,
Oh,
I don't
love
know.
it.
Yeah, melon
The
yellow.
melon yellow of the King County. Thank you.
Yes, as you've been able to see and meet our team and connect with them, encourage you to reach out. Yes, we cause a lot of mischief amongst each other, but we're here to support and guide you through every step of the way, making sure you're in compliance when it comes to college bound, anything related to that. Now that we're not partners in crime for it, but for everything else we are. Definitely want to encourage you to join our next webinar. We have one more in our series. We hope you've been able to join our first one from last month, and that you will join us next month on April 24th from 9 to 10:30 a.m. Make sure you got your coffee order ready for that one as well. This is going to be College Bound 201. We're going to dive in deeper into anything related to College Bound. This webinar will help you put what you've learned about the College Bound into action. You're going to walk away with an understanding of how to use the new middle and high school checklist that the College Bound regional officers have been working on for you in collaboration with WSAC to be prepared and ready to go to guide you through every step of the way as a middle school or high school staff member. And we want to make sure that you are preparing students within the College Bound and being ready to go. So jump in onto this webinar, add it to your calendars, make sure to register. If for some reason you cannot join, we still encourage you to at least register, and we can send you the recording right afterwards.
Yeah, a lot of you are talking about in your share out. The thing you want to do is figure out how you want to bring this information to your families. 201 is the place to be for that. They're literally there to help you think through and talk about how can we bring College Bound to our families in the best way. And we have an awesome team presenting for that webinar as well.
Then with that, your feedback is valuable to us. We cannot improve, we cannot continue to adapt and make the presentations more relevant to you, more useful, and hopefully a little bit more entertaining at the same time. So making sure you provide us that survey, use the QR code to scan, use the link that we will send you. Please complete this short 5-minute survey. We're asking for just 5 minutes of your time to evaluate today's training. Be honest as possible. We will not have our feelings hurt. We might be a little sad for a bit, but we will make sure we improve and make sure that our presentations and everything we do for you all is top-notch quality. Make sure to enter your email in the survey to be entered into the raffle to win a $10 gift card. Your responses still continue to be anonymous, so we will not connect your responses in the survey of who you are. Your identifying info and responses will remain confidential.
It looks like we might have the wrong QR code in our presentation, but I know Adrian, our awesome support staff, also put the link in the chat. And maybe
Yes.
Adrian, can you pop it in there one more time for us into the chat? Oh, worked for me. QR code. Oh, the QR code linked. Okay, it did work. Okay, great. And then Adrian also put it in the chat as well, a link into the chat as well. So 2 different ways. And we'll also send out the link again in the email afterwards. I'm super great. The QR code worked. Good to know.
Yes.
Thank you.
And in 6 weeks, you're going to hear back an update to also complete a short follow-up survey to once again enter another raffle. Now remember, that's a $10 gift card for Tango. Use it to anywhere you want from what's listed in the options. With that, you have all been a great audience to be able to present to. Y'all really were great in participating in those scenarios. Really appreciate it. We're hoping to do more in the near future, but with that, want to open it up at this time for any questions. We've got about 21 minutes left in our webinar today for questions. However, you don't have to stay the entire time. If you do have any questions, though, we encourage you to ask.
Yeah, and like we said, the recording will be sent out. Also, if there's any questions from the Q&A that our amazing Q&A team feel like we should talk about out loud, definitely let us know. Yes, so glad y'all are enjoying the information. Happy to help. Yeah, thank you for coming. Happy to hear about all you that are thinking about how can we make sure that CNEB is getting filled out. Love to
Mhm.
hear that. Contact your CBRO. Come to our 201. It's kind of the stuff we're going to talk about at 201. Yes, Sean is typing in is talking about your last question right now, Shannon. So we're going to get a response to you. Okay, so I want to go ahead and talk out loud about Marcy's question as well. Kathy's going to answer it in writing. And I also just want to mention you're new to middle school counseling. That's awesome, Marcy. We're glad to have you. We need more middle school counselors. For college bound, that's really what I would really encourage you to go to 201. Our team created these awesome checklists and in terms of what you as a middle school counselor need to do for college bound or the things you could do, kind of what you should definitely try to prioritize and then other extra things as well. So Marcy, that 201 webinar is going to be the perfect thing to register for. Even if you're busy at that time, it'll be recorded and emailed to you, but definitely that would be the time to try and go to that webinar. And that's really what they're going to talk about is what do you need to do for college bound? How can you bring this information to your families? And those checklists that they're gonna share at 201 and will be shared afterwards are going to be really helpful to you as a new counselor in terms of what you need to do for college bound. Great question. Yeah, okay. We can post the 201 webinar registration in the chat as well. Let's see.
And no shame if you arrived late towards the presentation or
Yes.
anything. We just encourage you to watch the recording later on. Hopefully find some information that may be useful to you.
And Trang just posted the link to register for the 201 webinar in the chat. So you can sign up for that one as well.
And if you enjoyed
Awesome.
today's webinar, I will say I am the least entertaining out of all 5 of us. So the next one's going to be just as great or even better.
Lies you tell, Raul.
I am the least entertaining. That just means that there's a high bar because you all are so great too. So I don't mind
Raul's just
being
got the
5 out of 5 with
deadpan.
this team.
You got the deadpan humor, Raul. I'm like 50% of the time, I'm like, is he kidding? Is he not kidding? I got to think about it for a minute. Is he serious or is he joking? And that's like one of my favorite things. So awesome.
I am a color wizard. I appreciate you noticing that. Thank you.
The inner workings of Raul. You were a color wizard with that. Okay, any other questions? And I didn't even notice, Raul, you were the one doing the presentation, huh?
Oh, yes.
Ugh, you're just like, yeah, I'll do this and talk. Let's go. If there are no other questions, we'll also end it early. We have gone over the hour that is needed for the clock hours. My brain. So you have that 1 hour of clock hours at the very least. If there's no other questions, we can also head out early and get some of our time back. But we are here to answer questions. Thank you.
If we don't hear anything in the chat or Q&A, we'll go ahead and end it at 10:16.
Sounds
Just give us a
great.
moment for questions.
Yes, that sounds great. Thanks all for coming. The evaluation is going to be this post-training survey. So that was in the chat, the QR code that's on the slide. And we can, perfect. And Adrian posted it again in the chat. I asked a question in the chat earlier. Can someone answer if you have time? Oh, most of the time, if you asked it in the chat, it was probably copy and pasted into the Q&A, Ashley. We also had a behind the scenes awesome team member doing that. So let's see.
Yeah, I'm looking through the Q&A and sorry, Ashley, I don't know if we see your question in the Q&A.
Are you able to like copy paste? Let's see. I was just trying to search for it.
Thank you for
Retyping. Okay. No worries, Ashley. We're here. We got time.
Oh, also, Melissa, happy first day of spring.
I know. I'm so excited. Someone asked me yesterday, do you know what tomorrow is? And I go, yes, spring. And they're like, no, it's the, I don't know, like March Madness. And I was like, ugh,
Oh.
move away. Does full-time running start count as 6 of the 2 years that College Bound can apply to? So we're going to put that into the Q&A as well, but I just want to answer out loud. So again, this is one of those things where it's a difference between the student requirements of College Bound versus College Bound funding. College Bound funding can't be used for Running Start because they haven't graduated high school yet. So one of those student requirements of College Bound is to graduate high school in order to receive College Bound funding. And since they haven't done that yet, College Bound funding can't be used for Running Start or things that they are doing before they graduate high school, but the Running Start credit can count towards the enrollment requirement of the student requirements. So they wouldn't use any of their years of funding for Running Start. They'd still have all 6 because they can't be used, the College Bound funding can't be used in Running Start. Yes. Yeah, so we did have that one in there as well. Perfect. Then we'll send out the Q&A and all that good stuff. Thank you, Ashley, for making sure we hit on that one. Yeah. Okay. We'll give it one more minute to like 10:18 maybe.
Yeah.
We have do have a question regarding CNEB in middle school. We are a non-high school. Will students and families need to fill out the app again in their high school? So CNEB for College Bound, they have to fill it out in 7th or 8th grade.
They could also fill it out in 9th if they're newly eligible.
If their family income in 7th and 8th, or they weren't eligible for College Bound and then something changes in 9th grade, they are income eligible, they can fill it out in 9th. In which case it would mean that they didn't get enrolled in 7th and 8th. And high schools also do the CNEB. And so they would want to make sure they do it in 9th grade. But in terms of your middle school, you'd want to make sure that your 7th and 8th graders are filling out, their families are filling out that CNEB. And they won't have to fill it out again.
Right. Yeah. They only need to fill it out once. As long as they did it one time between 7th, 8th, or at least catch them last minute 9th. Yeah.
And if you are in the College Bound portal, the toolbox, once those get processed from OSPI and then that information gets sent to WSAC, you should see them come up within like a month or 2 in your portal. And so you can kind of confirm in there. Yes, please, Sean, please add more.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. No, that's a
Yes.
great answer about College Bound. I just also wanted to clarify that CNEB is basically now your free and reduced meal application, your family income survey, and it should be done yearly to
Yeah.
keep some of the benefits. And so, like, although like you said, you're not necessarily auto enrolling in this case, what it is that there may be other services you are available to receive, especially if you're doing it on a yearly basis. And for some of the schools that are participating in community eligibility provision or 100% meals received to the students, they depend on these CNEB applications also as
Yeah.
a way to better understand what the needs are of their communities and ensuring that, hey, they get this access still going. I hope that helps.
100%. Yes, that definitely, it's kind of like the GPA thing where it's like they don't need the 2.0 or to aim for the 2.0, but like, should they have that as a goal? Yes, definitely. So same thing for the CNEB in terms of college bound. If they fill it out once in seventh and eighth grade, they'll be enrolled and they don't need to keep filling it out every year. But in terms of schools, y'all should be having your students do it every year to keep that information and the funding sources and things like that. Yeah. Great question too. Awesome. Yeah, no problem, Debbie. Yep. And then Kathy, did you put that ninth grader newly eligible? Is that in the somewhere in our Q&A as well?
Yeah, it should be in there.
Okay, great. Perfect.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, friends. Any other questions, clarifications, things you're still wondering about? You can always reach out to us afterwards as well. Of course, you have emails, you have contact info. We're doing this all day, every day. So, we're here to answer questions if they come up later too. Okay?
If you send an email around 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., I won't be answering it then, but most likely the following morning.
We are hourly employees, so good point, Raul. Boundaries. Boundaries. Okay. Thanks all for joining us today. We'll see you at the 201.
All right, we will end the webinar. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.